Greetings, friend, and welcome to the Between the Covers podcast, where we're working every day to remove the self-limiting beliefs that are preventing us from becoming the heroes of our own stories. I am Marcus Spar, and it's time for this month's hero study, and I want to go with probably one of the most prominent heroes in my growing up years anyways, and that is Cecil Harvey. Or Cecil Harvey, as some people would pronounce the name. For me, it has and always will be Cecil. Now, Cecil is the main protagonist in the video game Final Fantasy IV. And one of the things that is so impactful for him on me as a hero is he is one of the characters that you see some very dynamic change occur just in his story arc. Now, it's very common for there to be a lot of story arcs and characters changing as plots progress. Growing up, though, Cecil was the first one to really demonstrate this in a way that had a profound impact on me. So let's go ahead and dive into his story. Cecil was adopted by the King of Baron because both of his parents passed away when he was really young. Under the tutelage of this quite noble king, he is trained as a Dark Knight, and he uses this dark power that he either learned or, I don't know, maybe was even a part of him from the very beginning to become the captain of Baron's Red Wing division of their, not Navy, their Air Force, I should say. The Red Wings are a group of airships that were one of the things that made Baron a very prominent and powerful kingdom within this world, and Cecil managed to become the captain of this fleet. This is where the story in the game begins. Cecil is trying to follow what he is told he needs to do by his liege lord, and that is he needs to go to the city of Mysidia and claim the crystal of water that is enshrined there. You see Cecil and his crew doing what they're ordered to do, and as they are returning, they're really struggling with what they just did. A key reason for this is the Mysidians did not put up any resistance whatsoever to the claiming of the water crystal, with the exception of just saying, please don't do this. But they put up no resistance. They really didn't do anything to try and really fight back. And this really bothered Cecil, and this even bothered some of his crew. They bring the crystal back, and Cecil expresses some of the whispers or the discontent that he and his crew are experiencing. And after the crystal is given to the King of Baron, he tries to implore the king to explain, why are we doing this? Why did we harm these innocent people? And he is kicked out. He is removed as captain of the Red Wings, and in order to prove his loyalty, he is given a task, and that is to take in the original game, it was a package. In the remakes, it's been a ring, but he has to deliver something to a village, the village of Mist. And this starts off the adventure that Cecil finds himself on. He really struggles with the fact that he has a lot of darkness in his heart. He has these dark abilities that he was honestly trained in and he excels in. And yet he doesn't have the strength to stand up to his king. He doesn't have the strength to be brave and do what needs to be done in order to protect the innocent. With the help of his girlfriend Rosa, she kind of helps to calm him down a little bit. There is one thing that he's quoted as saying, and I just want to read it verbatim here because it's so good. He's talking to Rosa, and this is the night before he and his friend Kane are going to leave to go on this mission to deliver this specific item to the Village of Mist. So what he says to Rosa is, I've worn this darkened armor for so long now, there's no mote of light left in me, not even in my heart. This is the character that he begins as. He views himself as weak, being incapable of standing up to the king who took him in, the king who trained him, the king who gave him his chance at life. And he can't stand up to this person. He can't stand up to this person who has given him so much when there is something deep down that is disturbing him. And he only sees himself as just a lowly, dark knight. He can't do anything beyond just follow his liege's orders. This, as I said, is the start of his adventure. Along this journey, you see Cecil really wrestling with the power that he has and his responsibility with this power. He and Kane make it to the Village of Mist, and the item that they were supposed to deliver had the sole intention of burning this village to the ground. In the original game, this was a town of callers, also known as summoners. These are individuals who are capable of invoking the power of very powerful creatures in the underworld and can do some devastating damage. With the example that when they discover what's going on, they find this young girl, she's 7 years old, named Rydia, and Kane is like, we were tasked with killing everyone here. She's the last one. We should kill her. And Cecil starts to stand up and he's like, this is insane. We can't do this. And he stands up to his best friend, and his best friend says, I figured you'd do that. We're not going to be able to do this alone. We'll need to get some help. They try to encourage young Rydia to join them. She's absolutely afraid, and in her fear, she invokes the powers of Titan, who causes an earthquake, and this separates Cecil from his friend Kane. He promises to take care of Rydia to the point that some Baron soldiers try and kill her in the night, and he fends them off. He works with the prince of the kingdom of Dancian, who is one of the sole survivors after the Red Wings bomb his castle. They took the Crystal of Fire from there, and they go to Fabule, the kingdom of monks, and they try and protect the crystal that they have there. I think it's the Crystal of Wind. And everywhere they go, they just keep failing. The forces of Baron are so powerful. And they discover that there is someone who is the new captain of the Red Wings named Golbez. And this guy is causing a lot of this mess. And there's some betrayal that takes place. After being separated from Cain, after the events of the destruction of Mist, when they are in Fabule, Cain shows up and he's back in league with Baron and fights Cecil and defeats him in a duel. And it isn't until Rosa calls out to him and tells him to stop that he actually halts his attack on Cecil. But this causes Rosa to be captured. Cecil is defeated. Another crystal has been taken. Now they're trying to take the fight back to Baron. And you see him really wrestling and trying to overcome this legacy that he has as a Dark Knight and the harm that he has caused because of these actions, which leads him back to the village of Mysidia, where it is a village of wizards. And he is back there after the tragedy that he helped bring about when he was claiming the water crystal. The elder says, okay, you know what? You seem to be repentant about what you've done and you want to help. However, you need to get rid of that dark sword. And the way to do that is you go to Mount Ordeals, and there you will find a shrine, you'll be challenged, and it'll help rid this darkness within you. He is sent with 2 children who are prodigies, one as a white mage, one as a black mage. And unbeknownst to him, they were also sent with him not just to assist on this adventure to Mount Ordeals, but also to spy on him, to make sure he was legit at this point. It is on Mount Ordeals that we see one of the most powerful, I don't even know if powerful is the right word for that. It is the stark transformation of this hero. He goes up to the top, battles this nasty elemental fiend, battles him twice actually. And the whole reason why this one was sent is because his dark powers were going to be useless against him and his undead. But with the help of the 2 young wizards and a sage, they're able to take him down. He makes it to the shrine, and he hears a voice that starts calling out to him, and it keeps calling him my son. He enters in, he has an encounter with his father, Cluya, who he never, ever met before. Because Cluya died before he was born. And Cecil's mother passed away before, or not before, but during childbirth. So he never met his parents. And now he's being called my son. And he's seeing his dad for the first time. With the help of his father, he transforms from a Dark Knight into a paladin. Now, this was a big deal for me as a young kid. Final Fantasy IV came out July 19th of 1991. And by this time, I was 7 years old. And seeing this transformation of someone going from this Dark Knight into a paladin, which I never even knew what a paladin was. But effectively, he was transformed into a holy knight. This was a big deal for me. He starts out he starts this journey as a paladin, and he's just picking up where he left off. He has to stop Golbez. He has to figure out what they're trying to do with these crystals. This goes on a huge, huge adventure where he returns to Baron, finds out the king is no longer the king. He was replaced by another elemental fiend. They try and protect the last remaining crystal, the Crystal of Earth, and then that is taken in exchange of getting Rosa back. They figure that it is a lost cause at this point because Golbez now has all of the crystals, and then that's when they find out, no, there's another 4. These are the dark crystals, and you have to go to the underground in order to find them. They go to the underground. 2 of the 4 crystals are already taken. They try and stop the 3rd one from being taken, while the 4th is hidden behind a magically sealed wall. They're like, okay, let's go and reclaim the crystals, and things just don't go well. Man, it's like every single time they try something, Golbez is just one step ahead of them. It's during this time that Cecil and Golbez have actually faced off against each other. Cecil with his new powers as a paladin, and Golbez effectively a Dark Knight himself, but a very powerful spellcaster. While all of this is going on, I'm giving a very brief view. It doesn't seem very brief, but it is a brief view of this story here. Cecil loses friends. The sage Tella, he loses his life trying to avenge the death of his daughter at the hands of Golbez. Edward and the monk Yang, they were trying to go back to Baron, and their ship was attacked by Leviathan, and Rydia falls off the ship. Yang goes in after her. Edward gets injured, and as he is trying to go after Golbez and he finds these allies, stuff keeps happening. They are reunited with Cain again. It's found out that he was under some kind of mind control. But every step of the way, Golbez seems to just be a little bit further ahead and is able to stop them from preventing his own goals from taking place. Cecil continues to fight. He continues even after each defeat. After he is outsmarted, outmaneuvered, as he is blasted with magic, he continues to get up. He continues to fight. He continues to strive. He continues to defend. And after having misadventure after misadventure in the underground, and Golbez manages to get all of the dark crystals. He now has all 8. And why does he want all 8? He needs all 8 to unlock a passage to the moon. And not only that, he is trying to get one of the most powerful weapons, the Giant of Babel, so that he can have world domination. Is Cecil going to sit by and let that happen? Absolutely not. Now, he has to figure out what to do next. The giant has not come out yet. Cecil and his friends return to Mysidia, and it is there that they summon effectively a spaceship that is shaped like a whale. It's called the Lunar Whale. And there is a voice that calls out that says Cecil needs to come to the moon. So he goes to the moon on the Lunar Whale, and there he meets this individual named Fusoya. And he is a Lunarian. And he reveals to Cecil that his father, Kluya, was a Lunarian. He was so enamored with the people on the blue planet, as they called Earth, that he decided to stay. He fell in love, and He wanted to raise a family. There is this special power that was within Cecil this entire time that he didn't even know was there because of his lineage. Fusoya knows what's going on, and he says, we need to go back. We need to stop the Giant of Babel from being not revived, more like turned on, because it was a gigantic machine. It was a gigantic robot. When they return to Earth, the giant awakes and starts its rampage. All of the forces of the blue planet come together in order to try and stop it. Cecil and his companions go inside the giant in order to prevent it from moving forward and stopping it in its tracks. They destroy the CPU, and Golbez is furious that this happened. As he is approaching them in his fury, Fusoya steps forward, wakes him up, and Cecil finds out that Golbez is his brother. His brother who tried to run away with him when he was a baby and eventually abandoned him. He had been battling his brother without knowing it this entire time. And now he has a really big conflict on his hands. Golbez wants to go back to the moon in order to stop the real threat, this Lunarian named Zemus, who had been controlling Golbez this entire time. And he wants to exact revenge on Zemus. Golbez and Fusoya leave to do that. Cecil is reunited with his friend Kane, who is no longer being controlled as well. And he, with his 4 companions, the now 20-year-old Rydia, who aged faster in the underground in the land where these powerful summoned creatures live. His girlfriend Rosa, and the prince of the Ninja Kingdom, Eblin, and they go to the moon in order to stop Zemus. When they confront this powerful evil, actually they don't even confront him. They go and they see Golbez and Fusoya facing off against him. And they obliterate him. However, Zemus's anger turns into an entity itself, and it starts fighting back, and Golbez and Fusoya don't stand a chance. This new being named Zeramis is going to destroy the entire world. And though badly beaten and everyone else around him is down for the count, Cecil gets up and says, I can't let this happen. For the people of Earth, I have to stand up and stop you in your tracks. Through the wishes of friends and former allies, Cecil and his friends are restored. And they're able to fight against Zeramis. And it turns out the reason why Fusoya and Golbez weren't able to do anything against Zeramis is because it takes someone with the power of light to use one of the crystals in order to reveal his true form. Golbez tried to do this and it didn't work because Golbez didn't have the light inside of him. Cecil does. He reveals Zeramis's true form, and they battle him for the safety of Earth. They succeed, and Cecil and his friends return to Earth. Golbez, his brother, stays on the moon. He wants to be with the people of his father. And we get probably one of the closest examples of everyone living happily ever after, because while there are all of these trials along the way, they really only lost one ally, and that was the sage Tella. Everyone else was able to recover. Cecil becomes the new king of Baron and marries the love of his life, Rosa. And his story for Final Fantasy IV ends with everyone coming to the coronation of him as king and the wedding between him and Rosa. Roll the credits. And what we see with Cecil in all of this, we see someone who wrestles with this inner darkness inside of him, this incredible capacity to harm. And once his conscience really kicked in, because he knew what he was doing was not right, it was not a good thing. He was harming innocent people. He was taking all of the steps necessary in order to fix his mistakes. For someone like me, who I know I have done harm to people, I have had friends who I used to be friends with back in high school that, because of my very conservative Christian upbringing, I did not treat well when they did not fit within the convenient mold of what I was told the world and life was supposed to be like. I had a friend who came out as trans, and I did not accept her. I did not accept her for who she was. That is something that haunts me to this day. I don't know how to get in touch with her and apologize in order to make amends. It's something that I really, really want to do. And I am reminded that even though I have this darkness within me as well, because I have not done things perfectly. I have harmed people. I've hurt them. I have had moments where I have said things where I thought I was being loving and accepting, and it actually turned out I was ostracizing and condemning. I need to be reminded that there is hope for someone like me. And even though I was first introduced to Cecil when I was about 7 years old, it is now that I am an adult that I start to see the importance of owning your own mistakes and starting to make the changes necessary to become that better person. The world literally needed Cecil. But not Cecil as a Dark Knight. They needed Cecil as a paladin. They needed someone who was willing to protect, put himself in harm's way, and have this powerful light inside of him in order to reveal the true nature of this ultimate evil so that they could eradicate it for a time. The world literally needed Cecil. And even though I have made terrible mistakes in the past, and I have caused a lot of harm, one of the things that I need and want to be reminded of is I too can change and become a better person and do what needs to be done in order to make the world a better place and protect those who need help. Protect those who are up against insurmountable forces. And that's why Cecil Harvey is one of my all-time favorite heroes. And it's one of the reasons why I play this game pretty much every single year. It is a game that I annually play. And I hope that you have found the story of Cecil as inspiring as it's been inspiring for me. And I guess one of the things I'd want to leave you with is, if you feel that there is some kind of darkness in your heart as well, much like I have felt for most of my life, then let's take an example from Cecil's story. That darkness can be replaced. We don't have to remain there. We can become something different. We can become someone better. And until next time, live strong for today.